Okay, what's up, guys? So, of course, this is Live Love Lockwood, and I am Shamika Lockwood. And so, if you've watched part one, I was telling my testimony. Hold on just a moment. Who is this? Jasmine, go to the back and play, okay? So, I was telling my testimony. I'm sorry about that, y'all. These kids are outside and they keep knocking on the door. So, yeah, so I'm telling my testimony video. So, I ended with just talking about my childhood and how I was introduced to a lot of sexual things as a child. That's a lot that I know. I was a very broken child. I was very sensitive when I was growing up. I would cry. I was very insecure. I didn't really feel loved as a child. So we'll continue from there. So basically, okay, I continued to grow as a child. Um, things, continue to happen in my life. I continue to try to grow. I feel like I still was very insecure, even going up into like middle school and, high school. Like, I was still very insecure. I didn't really feel like a solely beautiful person. I just really was very a broken person. I feel like, well, that's how I would describe it now as an adult. I mean, I wasn't a broken adult, but I was a broken child. I didn't really know who I was. I didn't really love myself. I wasn't secure. I didn't have high self-esteem. I was very low as a person, but I continued to try to grow. I went to church. I enjoyed church. I enjoyed life though. Like, there were happy times in my life that I can remember that were good. There were good things, like they were fun. But a lot of my memories of my childhood were very like sad. So, like, I just kept trying to grow. And so a lot of the sexual stuff in my life stopped happening to me as I got towards high school and stuff like that. I didn't have to experience. Well, I forgot to tell y'all. Well, in my part of my testimony, when I was probably like 12 years old, is finally when the situation from part one came to light. Because my cousin, I didn't know that the same thing had been happening to her. And she was telling about what happened to her and then said, well, it did happen to me because they did the same thing to Shamika too. And then I was confronted about it and then told it, and basically nobody believed us. So that was that. So that situation basically had never been brought up again after this situation happened. They actually confronted the person. The person basically lied and said no, they never touched anybody, and that was that. So going into high school, I was just really chill. I had boyfriends, but I really was not like a sexually active person. I didn't really have sex. I just kissing and probably a little touching and stuff, but I wasn't really sexually active, like not having sex for real. So, I continued to like grow. I was in the choir and stuff like that really made me happy. But I started to learn then, like once I hit high school, that I did not know how to handle rejection. I was a very codependent person. When I loved people, even as a teenager, I loved very, very hard. And like, man, I wish, I didn't really always receive that love back, and it would hurt me to my core when I would be rejected. I didn't know how to handle not being accepted, not being rejected. I didn't know how to handle that as a child. So if somebody would reject me, I would literally burst into tears. I would feel like bad. And around that time, it's the same time I started cutting myself. I would like get a safety pin. You can't see them now. I used to have scratches on my arm, but I used to get a safety pin. That's the only thing I can handle. I can't see how people used to do razors. But anyways, I used to cut myself as a child, like, because that was like, I don't know. I thought there was this, like, I just wanted to, I don't know. Back then, I cannot even tell y'all what I was thinking, but that was what I used to do. I would just be so hurt by just rejection and things like that, and then I would cut myself, and then I would just be so broken. And around that time is when I was very much into watching pornography. Like, I watched porn ever since like I was a child. Like, once I got exposed to it, basically I was like addicted. I always felt the need to have to watch that. But anyways, So yeah, so I was just very, very broken as a child, and very, very just didn't know who I was. People at church would tell me positive things about myself, would tell me God had a purpose for my life, try to speak life over me, but it was hard for me to believe that because of everything that I had been through in the life that I had lived and everything that I had went through. I was just really broken. Even though I never questioned God or anything, I just did not have that positive thinking or whatever. I love church. I love to do church as a child. I mean, it was fun, but I really did not understand who God was. I really did not understand, you know, fully who God was as a child. I just remember going to church. And so yeah, so as a teenager and stuff, like I said, y'all go to the back. Jasmine, y'all go in the house since y'all don't want to follow instructions. Go in the house. I'm sorry about that, y'all. So yeah, so I mean, I just remember just not loving myself. Go through the go in the house. What, Jasmine? Y'all go in the house. So yeah. So I just was so, I just went through a season of just not loving myself. I really just did not love myself, and I had such low self-esteem. So anyway, so I made it through high school though. I did fail, and I'm gonna tell y'all about this. It's a short story. So I failed 10th grade. Well, what happened is I had to repeat math in 9th grade. So I hated when in my high school, if you had one 9th grade class, you would have to wear your uniform in that class, basically wear your uniform all day. So I hated to wear uniforms. So I started to skip that class. And then I just got used to skipping all class. I had this one friend, we just skipped class and just not even care. I mean, at the time, I wasn't really thinking like, oh my gosh, Shamika, you're going to fail. You're going to be like a failure. You're going to have to repeat. I wasn't thinking that way. I was thinking like, man, I don't want to go to that class. I don't want to have to wear these uniforms because I'm in 10th grade. And if I wear these uniforms, everybody's going to know that I'm in a 9th grade class and I'm supposed to be in the 10th grade. So I was so embarrassed by that. So I ended up failing. At the end of the year, I found out I failed 10th grade and I had to repeat the 10th grade. So at that point, I had to leave and go to a Christian school, and it helped me catch up. And so I did graduate a year late, but I thank God for that opportunity. I love that school. I love, that season of my life, and it's over, but I thank God for that season. But this is when I started to really, like, once I graduated, honey, it was like freedom. I went to Troy University in Troy, Alabama, and I just remember around that time, like, first of all, before I started the college, I met this person, and I thank God for one of my family members at that time. Like, I met this guy. He was older than me at the time. He was like 28, 29, and I was 18. And one of these family members, she was like, you don't need to be dating that older guy. And I'm like, honey, my mom don't have a problem with it or whatever. I said something like that. So, I just felt like at that time, I felt like I was grown. Like, I wish I would have listened though, because that person, gave me STD or whatever. And I just hated that I had that experience and that I had to be in a situation like that. But you live and you learn. So, yeah, so I messed around that guy, and thank God that was over. But around that time, I started to get really, really wild. Like, I started to have sex more often. Like, once I turned 18, I just let loose. I was just very, very sexually active. I did the most. I started to party. Of course, when you go to college, you start to party. You get introduced to like frat parties and stuff. I started going to frat parties. I started to drink a little bit. I just was enjoying that time of my life, what I thought I was. But at the same time, I was still very, very broken. And so this is almost over. It's almost hitting 10 minutes. So I'm going to have to get ready to stop. And then you're going to hear the rest of this story, this testimony, in the next video. So catch the next video if you want to continue to hear what else happened. All right, you guys have a blessed day.